Good evening, and thank you all for joining this town hall. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to important things that are happening in Seguin ISD. It has been just a great start to the school year. So many great things happening on our campuses. I'm really proud of the work that our campus leaders, our teachers and staff are doing to make sure that it is a strong start to the school year. I have noticed just such an intense focus on instruction early on. I was very proud the second day of school at Ball Early Childhood. You wouldn't have known that it was the second day of school. Our tiniest matadors were transitioning so well to recess, back in from recess. We're in really nice lines and we're engaged in learning. I'm just really proud of the work that is happening in our schools. I had the opportunity to visit almost all of our schools, visited some math classrooms at Barnes on Monday after the superintendent's leadership team held our weekly meeting there. Really saw some amazing lessons taking place. In another example where it looked like school had been in session for weeks, but yet it was only the sixth day of school. So I'm just really proud of everyone's efforts, but I'm just really thankful for our parents' patience and flexibility. With the start of school, you've got slow traffic lines when it comes to drop off and to pick up. You've got buses that are getting to drop off or even pick up a little late because we are just trying to deal with the new traffic patterns that come with the start of school. And so your patience has been greatly appreciative. It makes a significant difference, and I appreciate you just continuing to support your schools and your child's teachers. And we have a lot of information that is going to be shared today during this town hall. So I'm very thankful that you are here listening. It is also going to be recorded. The agenda today, I'm going to go over briefly some information on our strategic plan, our accountability ratings, some Bond 22 information on our school board, and depending on time, allow for some Q&A. At the end, you can type in your questions, and hopefully we'll make an effort to answer those either live, I can answer them, or answer via the chat. Our strategic plan is Strategic Plan 2.0 has started this school year. Our Board of Trustees has adopted 7 new goals that we are going to strive to meet over the course of the next several years. The last strategic plan was adopted during the 2017-2018 school year, and that really drove the work over the course of the following 4 years. And so all of our initiatives and programs have all been part of Strategic Plan 1.0. We are no longer in a place where we change what we're doing from year to year. We've had the same initiatives in place since that strategic plan was adopted, and many of them will continue on with Strategic Plan 2.0. The first goal that has been adopted is one which had to be adjusted because we saw tremendous progress this year. We are looking to increase the percentage of third grade students whose score meets the grade level or above on STAR, and from 40% to 54% meeting by 2025. Now, remember, there are 3 levels to STAR performance. There's approaches, there's meets and masters, and our goal is for 54% of our third graders to be at the meets level by 2025. And that was adjusted significantly because we got so close to meeting the goal that was originally outlined. The second one is to increase the percentage of third grade students who score meets grade level or above on mathematics from 35% meeting to 49% by August of 2025. The third goal is to increase the percentage of students who are meeting the college, career, military readiness requirements from 39% to 73% by August of 2025. And we are making significant progress meeting that goal. We certainly had a lot to catch up on over the last several years, In 2017, an example of students gaining an industry-based certification through CTE programs was 0.1%. This year, we are looking at 14% of our graduates earning an industry-based certification. Already our new seniors this year, the class of 2023, came in at 14%. So we are making significant progress there. The fourth goal is to build a thriving community, learning community as indicated on a numerical score of 80 or higher on a balanced scorecard. And we're hoping to just increase the level of engagement that we see, not just in our schools, but between our schools and the community. The fifth one is that we will improve staff satisfaction as determined by an indicator that we get from organizational health inventory. The sixth goal is that we will improve student, staff, parent, and community perception as determined by a net promoter score. We want to ensure that our constituents are satisfied with their schools. And so we will be seeking feedback so that we can continue to improve our schools. The seventh one is that 80% or more of our students will be enrolled in a campus that is rated A or B by August of 2025. We are well on the way to achieving that goal, with 6 of 11 campuses already meeting that standard. This last year was the year for planning and for piloting the redesign components of that strategic plan, specifically for our middle schools. This is year 2, but really our first year of implementation, as last year we were finishing our last strategic plan. Year 3 next year, we'll continue with what we have in place and make adjustments as needed. There are 5 required components with being a part of system of great schools. One is that we will have in place blended learning, high quality instructional materials at all levels, social, emotional, or whole child well-being, extended learning time. That means learning beyond the school day through programs such as ACE, which we have in place at our elementary and middle schools, and high dosage tutoring, which means just in time quality tutoring for our students, especially those who are in the tested grade levels. There is a website that has information on our strategic plan. If you are looking to learn more about the work that's happening and how we are going to meet our ultimate goal of all of our campuses being a B or better, this strategic plan truly outlines that pathway to get to that point. What's different about this strategic plan compared to strategic plan 1.0 is that you will be able to monitor progress as we progress through each school year. There will be an easy way for you as a parent, as a community member, to be able to monitor how we were doing on that strategic plan. And by monitoring that, you have the ability to monitor the progress, the academic progress that we are making on all of our campuses. Now I'm going to transition to the accountability ratings. And the strategic plan was a great starting point, because our ultimate goal there, as you saw, is for all of our students to be in an A or B seat. And so we have to have a very strategic pathway to get to that point. Just like the last strategic plan has really gotten us to the place where we are, where we have 6 high-performing schools, we truly believe that this strategic plan that is much more rigorous, laser focused, and provides very specific benchmarks for progress is going to get us to that point. There are certainly celebrations that we have for our state accountability performance. Unfortunately, the overall district rating is a 67, and yes, there is still work to do, but I do want to stress to everyone that 67 is not a true reflection of where we are as a school district. You can go down the road to Gonzales ISD, and they have all non-rated schools in a C high school, but yet they're a B district. You can go to Luling ISD, non-rated schools, a C high school, they're a B district. You can look at Austin ISD, an 88, a B school district, and you'll find that the majority of their middle schools are failing in numerous elementaries. So just because a school district is a B doesn't necessarily mean that they are a high performing school district. The accountability system is certainly flawed, but yes, we do have work to do in Seguin ISD. We want all of our schools to be high performing, and we have found that the area that really hurt us overall is CCMR, college career military readiness, and that will continue to be a focus for Seguin ISD. But we can't lose sight of the celebrations that we should be having for our high performing campuses, but even those that showed significant progress. For example, Vogel in 2019 was a D-rated campus, but they are currently a C-rated campus. They moved up 13 points, and we are very optimistic about Vogel and their progress. They are poised to become a B or better campus. 9 of our 11 rated schools had gains, made gains, didn't necessarily move up a letter grade. MBLC, our specialized high school, 25 points. Rodriguez Elementary moved 20 points. Potlan, 16 points. Vogel, 13 points. Mcqueenie, Jefferson, Barnes, and AJB all moved up 6 points. So as you can see, the majority of our campuses made significant progress over 2019, the last year that we were rated. Keep in mind too, that last year we experienced many challenges as a result of COVID. So I'm just proud of our students, our staff, for overcoming adversity and just for excelling last school year in spite of the challenges that we had as a result of COVID. Kinnicky and Mcqueenie maintained their B. Mcqueenie received a TEA distinction in student growth. Jefferson Elementary moved from a C to a B, and they received a distinction for their performance in science. Potlan moved from a D to a B and received a distinction in growth. Mercer Bloomberg Learning Center moved from a C to an A, and overall 5 campuses received a B and 1 campus received an A. So what we are seeing is that the strategic plan 1.0 certainly helped us, especially at the elementary schools. And many of the initiatives that we had at the elementary as far as instructional initiatives can be replicated at our secondary schools. And so our focus is going to heavily be on our secondary schools that are not Bs yet, because I am encouraged that and pretty optimistic about them getting to that place by the time we are having a conversation next year. So I want to give kudos to our campus principals, to our leadership teams, to our teachers, to our paraprofessionals, to everyone who played a role in ensuring that our schools made progress in the spring of 2022 when it comes to STAR. So our areas of focus for this year are going to be Barnes Middle School. They improved 6 points from an F to a D from 2019. Breezy Meister improved 6 points, but it wasn't enough to get them out of the F status or not rated status. Overall, again, the district score is a D, although we are not officially rated in spite of having 6 high-performing campuses. And so what I have shared with our teachers and our principals during convocation and during our principals meetings is that we have to celebrate their efforts. Our teachers have poured their hearts and their souls into the work. They have planned outstanding lessons. They have provided just-in-time interventions to students. They have stayed after school to provide tutoring. They have even worked weekends to get to that place. And so I want to celebrate and acknowledge all of their efforts in helping us move so many of our schools. And I'm excited about what this year has in store for us as a school district. I'm going to transition over now to Bond 2022. And I do want to point out that our facilities certainly make a significant difference. And since the high schools, a new high school opened in 2017, we have just seen a a change in the sense of pride that our students have in learning, and that new environment and atmosphere has certainly made a big difference there. And we're already seeing an impact at AJ Breezemeister with the new areas of their school building, how that has impacted just the overall morale there for not just our staff, but also our students. And so I am so thankful to you all for voting to support Bond 2019 and helping us get the new AJ Breezemeister, the renovations in phase 1 of Jefferson Elementary, the new playgrounds at all of our elementary schools, the new football stadium that is a point of pride in our community. I want to thank you for your support. This year, we are looking at going to our voters for $138.5 million for the next round of needs that we are looking to address. And I'm going to outline just a couple of those priorities to everyone. First, I'd like to point out that we are looking at $15 million worth of security enhancements. As you all know, we had a safety task force that met over the summer and made recommendations moving forward to enhance our safety and security measures. Using their recommendations, we then went out to the community and received feedback via thought exchange, where we had 500 thoughts that were expressed in about 10,000 ratings of those thoughts. And one of the items that we heard repeatedly, whether out in the community, in our schools with the safety task force, or on thought exchange, one of the ideas that quickly rose to the top was fencing and securing our schools. And so with this $15 million, we would look at increasing our fencing around the perimeter of our facilities, really looking at possibly heightening some of that fencing, and really looking at where some vulnerable areas may be and ensuring that that fencing is there. We would look at additional cameras so that we can better monitor inside the building and outside of the building, which would mean additional technology that would be needed, on top of looking at weapon detectors and so much more, especially utilizing weapon detectors when we have large gatherings of people who are coming together, for example, at a football game. And so there's new technology that can scan a lot of people at one time. And so we are looking to enhance just everything that we're doing with safety and security. There really isn't one magic answer that's going to be the easy fix, but I think we need to take every measure possible to ensure that our students and our staff are safe. So $15 million for technology. The second item is a replacement for a new Mcqueenie Elementary School at $54 million. That is our oldest elementary school at about 100 years old. It is it has been recommended with the TASB facility study back in 2017, 2018, that would be a campus that would be replaced. And so we are currently under negotiations for property. Bond 2019 allowed us to have $1 million for that. As you all know, property values have skyrocketed since then. So it has taken some time to be able to get to this point where we are under negotiations for property that is not in Mcqueenie. So I do want to point out that because it's not in Mcqueenie, that it would likely need a new name because it's not in that ETJ. The third item is additions and renovations at Barnes Middle School. One, to enhance our current programming. Two, to increase capacity and to enhance safety as well. Barnes is at capacity and there's certainly a need for more space. The next one is an ag science facility at $8.9 million. It is something that our district has not had, and for decades we have lost students to other districts because we do not have the facilities. And if we want to grow that program, it's going to be important for us to have the facility to be able to accommodate students who would be interested but do not have the facilities to store their own animals and feed. The next item would be a transportation facility expansion. Because we are a growing school district, there is going to be a need to have additional parking, additional buses, and of course, just additional space for the staff. Currently in that facility, there is not enough space for the current staff. That facility cannot hold all of our transportation drivers at one time. In addition to that, we do not have enough parking for our current staffing. And so we are looking at expansion of the transportation facility. We've grown by 200 students so far as of yesterday. So our demographers really predicted that this would be the year that we would start to see an uptick in enrollment. And so in 10 years, we're predicted to be 9 to 10,000, which would mean in a 400 square mile school district, a need for additional transportation and staff. A baseball softball complex at 7.5 million. We currently do not have our own baseball complex. We have a softball complex that is in need of attention, and the baseball softball would be on a second proposition on a separate measure, and everything else would be on the first one. A land purchase for a third middle school to be able to secure the dollars, to be able to secure that land for that future middle school down the road. And then various campus projects that would include roof replacements, furniture replacements at all of our campuses, except for our new ones like the high school and AJ Breezemeister, and of course, Ball Early Childhood, because they have just upgraded their furniture. Technology infrastructure upgrades as well. This current slide, you see a rendering of what a Mcqueenie replacement would look like. It would likely be a 2-story building with increased student capacity. Currently, several of our schools are at about 300 students, which is really hard. There's a huge operational cost to running schools, especially when they are that small. We would be looking at about 700 to 800 students in that facility, and it would be important to have that facility in place prior to completing the renovations at Jefferson and replacing Weinert, because at least Weinert would have to close, likely Jefferson, during that construction down the road. We would need a place possibly to rezone to accommodate additional students. Of course, that is all preliminary. There could be other ideas that come up, but it's important that we are able to start with Mcqueenie before we think about that next phase down the road. At Barnes Middle School, you'll see that there is additional classroom space that would be added in purple, and then the orange cafeteria space, which is needed. Currently, about 300 students go into the cafeteria when it's meant to accommodate 200. Additional elective space in the area of fine arts and of course CTE. One area that I think would be well received is the additional parking and the additional space for a drive. If you have ever been at Barnes and Kinnicky at drop off or pickup, you probably agree that it is mass chaos at that time. There is minimal space for a good traffic flow at Barnes Middle School. And so what we would be looking to do would be very similar to AJB. If you recall, AJB had very similar challenges at drop off and pickup. We would be looking to design a parking and drive very similar to provide relief, but to smooth out traffic flows for Barnes Middle School. The transportation facility here, here you can see the existing white part of that building in the center. That's the existing facility right now as you would find it. The gray areas would be the additions that would allow that additional space for our drivers to be in the facility. In addition to the facility itself, there would be additional parking to accommodate all of the staff and future staff as that department grows, on top of having enough room for additional buses that would be purchased as the district grows in the future. On the right side of your screen, you see the baseball softball complex that would be on its own standalone proposition. As I stated earlier, we currently do not have our own baseball complex. Our students have to practice and play at Smoky Joe's. Our softball girls do have a facility, but if you've been to the softball facility, I think you can understand why we have included, why the facilities committee felt strongly about including this in this bond referendum. I mean, there's minimal seating for spectators at that event. This complex would allow for there to be events happening simultaneously, for shared spaces when it came to concessions and restrooms. Our baseball players would have the space to be able to practice, where right now they lose a lot of time loading up transportation to get to baseball, and then practicing, loading up again all of the equipment, and then transferring back to the high school. Our students miss out on a lot of practice time. In addition to that, because of the limitations with our baseball and softball, we're unable to accommodate our middle schools. And so we are looking to expand our baseball and softball to middle schools in the very near future. Having these facilities would allow us to be able to do that. The ag science facility here is a rendering. It would have the space for storing feed, for housing animals, and for practice with showing. And as I stated earlier, there are kids who are interested, but in participating in ag, but the limitations are that they don't have the space at home. We are so thankful for the parents of our ag students who are so generous enough to allow other students to house their animals or feed on their properties. And what our hope is if we have this facility, on top of being able to expand this programming, it could be used as a learning space for other students, pre-K through 12. And so that is another possibility, that beyond just the ag science, it could be a place for expanded learning for our students who are not in ag. And so how would this impact you? We're looking at a 2-cent increase per $100 valuation. So a home valued at $150,000 could expect a $30 increase to their tax bill at the end of the year. It is possible that the impact could be lower than 2 cents based upon interest rates and future district growth, which we did see in bond 2019. We did go out to voters and we were looking at a 5-cent increase per $100 valuation. Well, we have only had to go up 2.5 cents because of that growth. The new school bonds would not impact anyone over 65 because of the over 65 homestead exemption. So anyone over 65 would not be impacted. Voter information, I'm not going to go over it, but the deadline to register is October the 11th, with early voting taking place beginning on October the 24th, election day, November 8th. I'd like to close by recognizing and celebrating our Board of Trustees who were awarded the Region 20 School Board of the Year. I am just honored to have the opportunity to work alongside these 7 individuals who are dedicated, who care deeply about our students, and are just really laser focused on student academics. And I am just proud of this team who are just selfless leaders in our school district and our community. They do not have any hidden or personal agendas, and that's what makes the team work so well. Their only agenda is students, and that's all students, and they advocate fiercely for our students. And we could not have made the significant progress that we have academically without their support. And so I'm just thankful for their efforts. I'm thankful for their support with Strategic Plan 1.0. for their involvement and approval of Strategic Plan 2.0. I am excited about the future of Seguin ISD under their leadership, and I could not have asked to work with a better group of 7 individuals. So I just wanted to take time to congratulate them on their efforts, and I just want to continue to celebrate them for this huge honor. They are so deserving and have worked so hard and just care deeply about Seguin ISD. I greatly appreciate you all taking time to participate this evening. I will allow a little bit of time to ask any questions that you may have before we close. We have gone over time just a little bit, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to chat them. We'll be on for a couple of more minutes. We can certainly answer them live if there are any, but again, thank you all so much for your continued support. And before we close, it's a great day to be a Matador. Thank you.